From retro to next gen, we've got it all. I'm George, a Gen X grown-up, and this is Bit by Bit. Now here's an instructional bit from geekygadgets.com that teaches you how to turn your Apple TV 4K into a retro gaming powerhouse. What I really like about this is it's a nicely laid out and detailed step-by-step instructional instructional article is the best way to say it, I suppose, that teaches you how to turn this device into a retro gaming console. And it's not very difficult at all. It's just a couple of applications. You're going to get some great graphics on your retro stuff. It goes into all the details, smooth performance, stunning visuals that they got out of this thing, but you're going to use RetroArch, which is an easy app. It's apparently available in the Apple App Store. You're going to add your ROMs to it. You're going to organize your game library so that you can scroll through and find everything you want really well. I guess this device does support Bluetooth 5, so you're going to have no problem with gaming controllers. But I think if you have an Apple TV in your household, or maybe you're an Apple platform family, this is a great way to play some retro games. Here's a quirky little retro bit from flickeringmyth.com. Apparently, it's the 40th anniversary of DropZone, which was a classic in the Atari 800 Commodore 64 days. This guy named Archer Maclean is the guy who developed it. I love this article because it goes a little bit into the history of the development as well as some notes on what the game's storyline was. I love that when they do that kind of thing. But here are the quick little notes on this thing that is coming out in December. You're going to be able to switch between HD visuals and 8-bit style graphics. It's been optimized for controllers of the modern era, which is nice, but apparently keyboard is still supported. And you can go back and play the original retro mode with authentic graphics and sounds. They've got a neat little trailer in the article that you can watch through YouTube. But again, coming out in December, Archer Maclean's DropZone 40th Anniversary Edition. You know, honestly, with all of this that's in it, all you have to do is add a couple of interviews and some newspaper articles, and this could be something straight out of a digital eclipse offering. I mean, I think this is going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Here's an interesting bit from blog.adafruit.com. Somebody has discovered an old Atari ST digital magazine called Faster on a floppy disk in a collection that they bought recently. And what I really like, this article is really short, but you click over here on the link to go to the deeper blog post. And this guy not only goes into the history of Faster, I guess it was a Canadian magazine, and he talks about some of the different volumes and issues that are out and available. He actually starts to show some screenshots of this disc operating on his Atari ST today in real time. I think this is really neat. I would have loved to have had a digital magazine like this. Now, apparently you could subscribe to this thing for like $10 back in the day, which equals about $25 in today money. But look at all this cool stuff. You get all this stuff about this video game on here. There's some editorials on the magazine. Here was a cool, quote, centerfold on the magazine that was supposed to be David Bowie, he thinks. There's a personal opinion column. This magazine was probably pretty cool back in the day for Atari lovers. So if you have any interest in that kind of thing, check it out. All right, here's a bit from BuzzFeed that's going to either make you feel awesome or really, really bad. This is a quiz that basically is going to show you a picture and then give you 4 choices as to what this thing is. Like, here's a picture. Is this a Shuffle, a Nano, a Classic, an iPod SE? This one, what are these? It gives you 4 choices. You go all the way through, but essentially the premise is, are you really old? Or are you so young that you don't understand what any of these things are? This one is the one that gets me the most. I love the different choices on this one. Of course, being a Gen Xer, you're going to know most of these things, but there's some really fun pictures in here, stuff that I didn't expect. Look at this VHS tape. They want to know which company put out the bright orange VHS tapes. That's just awesome. I got a feeling most people are probably going to know what this device is, but anyway, go check it out and have some fun. And here's a quick hit bit from RetroDodo.com. Apparently Nintendo has added Donkey Kong Land 2 to the Nintendo Switch Online. So if you have that, and I know there's been a little bit of controversy in one of my first bits, I talked about that being free. People say they're not free because you have to pay an annual or a monthly fee for Nintendo Switch Online. Personally, I feel like the games are an add-on to what you get because Nintendo Switch Online is mainly supposed to be a platform that allows you to play with other people online, and these retro games to me are an added value to that. So I consider them free, but some people don't. Anyway, I guess they used to have Donkey Kong Land on there. Now they've got Donkey Kong Land 2. You can see the really nice artwork on a Switch right there. If you have a Switch and you have Nintendo Switch Online as a subscription service, I think you should go check this out. It is a super fun game. Originally, came on the Super Game Boy, I guess, for the SNES. Anyway, I don't know, but it looks to be a fun game. Anything with Donkey Kong is going to be fun. Just ask John. But anyway, go check it out. And here's a bit from ladiesgamers.com. There is a new Taito Milestones bundle called Taito Milestones 3 that's being released or may already be released. I'm not really sure from the article, but it's going to cost $40 US. It has 10 games in this, and it's available on the Nintendo Switch. Now, when I first saw this article, I wasn't terribly interested in it. I mean, it's got Bubble Bobble, which I know is a fun game that John loves an awful lot. Rainbow Islands, I've never heard of. Kadash, Rastan Saga 2, okay, those are good. But then I got to this graphic, and you guys know I love professional wrestling, and I certainly love professional wrestling games. This has Champion Wrestler inside the pack. Now, I thought this pack was supposed to mostly be platformer games. Obviously, Champion Wrestler is not in that same genre, but who cares? It's in this package. $40 for 10 games, $4 a game. Yeah, that's probably not too bad. There might be some better prices for Steam games on something like Humble Bundle or other places like that. But if you have a Nintendo Switch, this might be a super fun way to get to play some old classic games. Apparently, the company Hamster has done this quite successfully in the past and still are in this iteration of their Milestones 3 gaming stuff. But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. It's a shame there's no behind-the-scenes content with the author of the article, but, if you're just looking to play some retro games, this might be just the ticket. Here's a heartwarming bit from mysanantonio.com. There's a guy who took an old trolley and converted it into a rental mobile retro arcade. You can see some pictures of it here. He's got an Atari 50 cabinet right up front. I love that. An old Simpsons cabinet. There's Galaga way back in the corner there. There's a Street Fighter down there. You can see it looks like a PC setup back in the back with a giant screen TV. This guy just wanted to do this. His name is Trey Tishope. I don't know how to say that, but he's been in sales for like 20 years, and he just said, you know what? I just want to do something different. So this year, back in May, he said, I'm going to create this little trolley. He got this trolley from somewhere in Tennessee, had it shipped over, and then started working on the conversion. You can see it's a beautiful looking unit. Apparently, you can rent this thing for just a little under $400 an hour or $1,500 for 8 hours worth of fun, they say. I mean, how can you go wrong? Look how he kept the vintage trolley feel up front here. He can drive it around. But yeah, there's that homemade PC, like probably emulator. It looks like that's a Tony Hawk game, I think, there in the background. He's got, here's the list of some of his games. Galaga, NBA Jam, Street Fighter 2, which we saw, Simpsons, Golden Tee, Mortal Kombat, NFL Blitz. Oh, I love that game. That was so much fun. That Atari machine with several classic games. That's got to be the Atari 50 cabinet. I mean, it's just awesome. Oh, and look, he's using Launchbox. You guys have heard us talk about Launchbox on the podcast so often. If you haven't, go check us out, GenXGrownUp.com/podcast. But yeah, that's awesome. I mean, boy, I just love how stuff like this is coming into fruition from enterprising Gen Xers like this guy, Trey Toship in Austin, Texas. If you're in and around that area, I highly suggest you check out his retro arcade trolley. And here's a bit from digitaltrends.com that says the Atari 7800 Plus is the holiday's hottest console. And, honestly, I don't think I can disagree with that. We did a video a little while ago. I'll try and put a link up in the corner. John did a whole thorough breakdown of this console that we got from PlayOn and Atari, and it's like 50,000 views in 5 days, 10,000 a day. It's going crazy. But he goes on to talk a little bit more about how Atari and PlayOn have been creating these plus consoles, the Atari 50 collection, but he goes into some more detail. For instance, I didn't realize, but this version of the 7800 Plus is modeled after the European version of the 7800 because of this rainbow decal. I wasn't into the 7800. By the time 7800 rolled around, I was already into Commodore 64 at that point. He goes on to also talk about how this controller is very much like the 7800's controller, which is interesting. He goes on to some other stuff. Obviously, this has cartridge support, which is really nice. 7800 Plus, just like the 2600 Plus, is going to be really great. If you have the extra cash to spend this holiday season and you're an Atari fan, I don't think you can go wrong with the 7800 Plus from Atari. That's going to do it for the news making headlines in the gaming world right now. I am George, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep on bringing you the news bit by bit.